Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst, the most accurate mock drafter in the world. Before we get rolling, I suggest you click into the settings here, speed it up to 1.25 or 1.5. Here we are, late October. We're running out of games for players to impress, so it's really crunch time for prospects. So let's get into this week's mock. All right, first overall, I have the Carolina Panthers taking C.J. Stroud, quarterback from Ohio State. Obviously, they don't have their long-term starter on the roster. Baker Mayfield's been a disappointment. Sam Darnold's not the answer either. Panthers need that franchise quarterback. I think Stroud might be, by the time of the draft, considered the safest quarterback prospect. He has more size than Bryce Young. Obviously, we'll have two good seasons of tape. Same with Bryce Young. So I think because of the size and durability concerns that come with Bryce Young, I could see where some teams might be more comfortable with Stroud. So I have the Carolina Panthers going with him. Also, check in the comments below if you want to follow along with the mock. I'll have the outline there, or you can click the link to the mock and see it on the site as well. Get stats and other measurables and whatnot as you're listening to me go through it. All right. Anyways, second overall, I have the Raiders taking Will Anderson, edge rusher from Alabama. Check out this week's Hot Press. I've spoken with some Raiders sources who've told me that Mark Davis really regrets the coaching moves that have been made by the Raiders franchise over the past year. He regrets letting go of John Gruden, then letting go of Rich Bisaccia and that staff. And it's easy to see why he would feel that way. The Raiders have not played well. They have not seen a good return on investment from the big contract they gave Chandler Jones. He was past 30 on the decline. It was a bad move they made there. And they're going to need another pass rusher to go with Max Crosby. So you want to check out that Haas press there. And keep in mind, with the Raiders, I hit on a lot of draft picks, and that was no accident. I hit on Jonathan Abrams, Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, Alex Leatherwood. There was a reason why I was hitting on those picks. I'll just leave it at that. So, anyways, let's move on in the mock here. Third overall, I have the Lions taking Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. The Lions can take Young, develop him behind Jared Goff for a year if they wanted to, or they could trade Goff or cut him without any salary cap penalty. Goff is a fine NFL starter. If the team is really good around him, he'll be fine. But if you need him to deliver and crunch time, put the team on his back and win you some games, he's not that kind of guy. And I think the Lions, if they're picking high, will be looking for that kind of quarterback upgrade if it's there. And I think Young definitely would be considered that. The concern is there with the size, but he is a dynamic passer, really instinctive, fits the ball into tight windows, is accurate, makes plays with his feet. So tough to defend. I think that he would be the pick here for the Lions. Fourth overall, I have the Texans taking Myles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. They badly need a difference maker in the front seven, just have not had that since losing J.J. Watt and Clowney and Whitney Merciless. They got to start building up some guys up front there that can wreck the game for their defense. So Murphy has a ton of upside, great size, speed, athleticism, strength. He's got the whole complete package. Sometimes you just got to poke him, get the bear going a little bit, and then he shows signs of just being dominant. So he could be a big upgrade for the Texans. Fifth overall, I have the Eagles taking Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State. Give them a big corner to pair with Darius Slay. You got Maddox on the inside of the slot. Really help round out that secondary for them. Sixth overall, I have the Texans taking Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky. Give them an upgrade over what they have in Davis Mills. Levis has a big arm. He's mobile. He's tough. Good leadership skills. I think he would be an upgrade. And now why I have the Texans taking him sixth and Myles Murphy at four is because the Eagles At 5, sandwiched between those two, could easily take Miles Murphy as a replacement for Brandon Graham, but they're not going to take a quarterback like Will Levis with the way Jalen Hurts is playing this year. So that's why I have the Texans going that route with their picks. A little risky in terms of in the actual draft if you'd be worried about Philadelphia trading down, which is a real concern. So that might force the hand a little bit. But if they knew that they were safe at those spots, they could wait and take Levis at 6th. All right, 7th overall, I have the Seahawks taking Peter Skoronski, left tackle from Northwestern. He plays left tackle for the Wildcats, but he's strong enough to play right tackle. He moves really well, could kick inside to guard, really athletic, smooth blocker, makes it look easy, would be a really excellent tandem with Charles Cross, or you kick him inside to guard. The one knock on Skoronski, really short arms, like 32-inch arms. So that might cause some hesitancy to put him at left tackle in the NFL, but I think with the Seahawks, they got to improve that offensive line, continue to do it, build up, add more talent there for them. 8th overall, I have the Steelers taking Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia. Would be a really nice fit in that Steelers defense, and they need some youth on that defensive line. You had Steven Tuitt retire, Cam Hayward's aging, Carter be a really nice fit there for them. 9th overall, I have the Cardinals taking Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. Kind of best player available. Cardinals, if Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury survive this season, they'll definitely be on the hot seat again next year. And Bijan Robinson could hit the ground running right away in the NFL, make a real difference in terms of wins and losses for a team in his rookie season. So I think he could pay off. He'd be an upgrade for them in the backfield, really give them a tough run element to defend there with him, and then with a mobile quarterback in Murray, and then the receiving talent they have. 10th overall, I have Jaguars taking Quentin Johnston, wide receiver from TCU. He's really heated up after a bit of a slow start to the season, but Johnston has big-time potential, number one wideout skill set with size, speed, athleticism. Jags need a number one big outside wideout to go with Christian Kirk and help Trevor Lawrence. I think Johnston would make sense for the Jags. 11th overall, I have the Bears taking Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver from Ohio State. They need a number one for Justin Fields. Between Johnston and Smith-Njigba, I think the Bears could have some good options there in the top portion of the first round. 12th overall, I have Washington taking Antonio Johnson, cornerback / safety from Texas A&M. He's a jack of all trades. Kind of Swiss Army knife defender. He can play safety. He can play dime linebacker. He's an excellent slot corner, tough against the run, really outstanding football player, and Washington really needs more talent in that secondary. 13th overall, I have the Falcons taking Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. They could use another end to pair with Arnold Ebiketie, give them more talent up front there defensively. Definitely a need for Atlanta. 14th overall, I have the Seahawks taking Cam Smith, cornerback from South Carolina. They could use another corner to go with Tariq Woolen. Cam Smith gives them another corner with excellent length, real serious cover skills. I think he'd be a good fit there for them. 15th overall, I have Cincinnati taking Paris Johnson, left tackle from Ohio State. Continue to build up that offensive line. They could kick Johnson inside to guard. He played guard at Ohio State. He's at left tackle now. They could put him at right tackle, an upgrade over La'el Collins, who's been a big disappointment. But either way, he's going to help that offensive line, and they obviously still have work to go there to field a really good line to protect Joe Burrow. 16th overall, I have the Patriots taking Jalen Duncan, left tackle from Maryland. Give them a blindside edge protector for Mac Jones. You have Isaiah Wynn hitting free agency. I'm not sure they'll bring him back. 17th, even if they do, they could kick Wynn inside to guard. They could put Duncan at right tackle. They just have a lot of options there with a player like Wynn who has some versatility, and Duncan has versatile size as well. 17th overall, I have the Packers taking Jarrett Patterson, center guard from Notre Dame. Give them some young talent on the inside of that line. line. They always seem to have injuries up front. Patterson's really talented, safe pick to pan out into a good pro. 18th overall, I have the Dolphins taking Brian Branch, cornerback safety from Alabama. He plays the same role that Minkah Fitzpatrick played for Alabama, where he can play some hybrid corner safety, similar to Antonio Johnson at Texas A&M. Branch has size, speed, athleticism, toughness, instincts. Could be a really nice chess piece there for Miami. And with the expense that they have and those cornerbacks like Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, I could definitely see them looking to get younger and cheaper at that position and grab a guy now and start to bring him along with those veterans, and then in a year or two someone could be a cap casualty and you have your starter ready to go. 19th overall, I have the Bucs taking Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. Obviously, the Buccaneers have really missed Rob Gronkowski this year. O.J. Howard was let go. Cameron Brate's gotten injured. Cade Otton, I think, was a really nice pick for them in the mid-rounds last year, but I think he would ideally turn and be more of a long-term number 2 tight end, and Mayer gives them a tight end weapon that's a receiving mismatch problem. Could be a really nice fit there for Tampa Bay. 20th overall, I have the Ravens taking Kayshon Boutte, wide receiver from LSU. Similar to some other receivers this year, Boutte started the year slow, but he started to pick it up now, starting to produce more. Definitely would help Baltimore in terms of giving them a replacement for Hollywood Brown and a guy to go with Rashad Bateman. 21st overall, I have the Lions taking Clark Phillips, cornerback from Utah. The Lions badly need cornerback help. Jeff Okudah's finally playing well. Been a really nice addition for that defense this season, but it hasn't really paid off that well because Amani Aruye has been terrible on the other side. Mike Hughes has been a short-term rental as a slot corner. Even if he comes back, they badly need a cornerback upgrade across from Okudah. Clark Phillips could definitely be that. He's a ball hawk, excellent instincts, cover skills, would be a plug-and-play upgrade for the Lions. 22nd overall, I have the Colts taking Tyree Wilson, defensive end from Texas Tech. Give them an end to pair with Kwity Paye, Yannick Ngakoue, short-term player. Even if they keep him around, this would form a really nice trio. Ngakwe's not the biggest of guys, so you could rotate him with Wilson and Paye, keep Ngakoue fresh, and Tyree Wilson is really big, tough defensive end, has upside, could form a really nice tandem there with Paye and trio with Ngakoue if he sticks around. 23rd overall, I have the Titans taking Isaiah Foskey, defensive end from Notre Dame. Give them an edge rusher to pair with Harold Landry. We'll see if Bud Dupree is a guy that's kept around a whole lot longer. This is a crunch time for him in terms of his contract and seeing the later years of it. But Landry will be coming off an injury, so even if Dupree's coming back, would make sense to have 3 guys there to rotate them, get after the quarterback, and then you have some depth in case you have another injury, as Dupree and Landry now have both had serious injuries in their careers. 24th overall, I have the Chargers taking Gervin Dexter, senior defensive tackle from Florida, really tough run defender. The Chargers' run defense has been abysmal the past few years. Dexter's showing more pass rush this season. He's quick, he's athletic on the inside. Even if Jerry Tillery is re-signed, Dexter would be an upgrade next to him. But if Tillery is gone because of the money they're paying Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, Dexter could come in and be a nice interior lineman to go with those guys. 25th overall, I have the Jets taking Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Tennessee. Interesting situation there with the Jets and what's going on in that wide receiver room, where you have trade requests from Denzel Mims and now Elijah Moore. I think you look at Corey Davis's contract, he could be gone from the team after this season. So with all of that upheaval, I think it makes sense to take a big receiver to pair with Garrett Wilson. Tillman has really good upside, big size, quick, athletic. Has been injured this season, but he really is a good football player. 26th overall, I have the Cowboys taking Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama. This guy is just a stud running back, such a dynamic receiver. I've heard great things about him as well in terms of character and football character. But the Cowboys, this could be the last year for Zeke Elliott in Dallas. Even if he is brought back, it's going to be a short-term thing. It's not a long-term proposition at his age and at the running back position. So Gibbs could be, and Tony Pollard's hitting free agency as well. So if one of them comes back, you draft another guy, platoon him for a little bit, then turn it over to Gibbs long-term. And Gibbs is a stud, so fast, so explosive, such a dangerous receiver. I think there's going to be offensive coordinators just drooling over the idea of adding him to to an NFL offense. 27th overall, I have the Giants taking Jalen Jones, cornerback from Texas A&M. James Bradbury's gone. Adoree Jackson might not be around much longer himself with the size of his contract and his age. So I could see the Giants looking to get younger and cheaper, add a potential number one corner, and Jones definitely has that upside. He's big, fast, athletic, tough, willing run tackler. I really like him. He's really impressed me this season. So definitely I think that could be a steal for the Giants there late in the first round. 28th overall, I have the Chiefs taking Felix Nduke-Uzomah, the edge rusher from Kansas State. Give them a guy to pair with George Karlaftis in the long term. Immediately, you have a trio with Frank Clark. You can rotate those guys, keep them fresh. You have depth in case of injury, in case of injury. And I think then in the long term, you have your tandem ends and Nduke-Uzomah and Karlaftis, and you have them on affordable rookie contracts for a number of years. And what the Chiefs have spent elsewhere on the roster, they're going to need to find some places to save, and I could see that being something that would factor into the decision. 29th overall, I have the Vikings taking Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC. Give them a speedster to pair with Justin Jefferson. Obviously, Adam Thielen is around, but he's aging. He doesn't have the same speed that he used to. So I think before long, it would definitely be a smart move for Minnesota to add another playmaker. So when teams roll their coverage to Justin Jefferson, you have a speed guy on the other side that can burn them deep. They bring up the safeties to defend Dalvin Cook. Now you have another guy that can hurt him downfield. So I think this would make a lot of sense for Minnesota. 30th overall, I have the Bills taking Brian Brise, defensive tackle from Clemson. Give them an interior run stuffer, a guy with upside that could develop into more of a pass rusher. We'll see if Ed Oliver gets another contract in Buffalo, but even if he does, they could form a nice tandem, and then you have a veteran who's getting paid more, and you have a younger guy with first-round talent who's on a cheap contract. So it makes sense from a salary cap perspective. But also the Bills have such a loaded roster, you can go with best player available essentially for them. 31st overall, same kind of thing with the Eagles. I have them taking Will McDonald, edge rusher from Iowa State. A bit of a luxury pick because he is more of a designated pass rusher because he's smaller, undersized as a run defender, but he is a dynamic quarterback hunter. This guy has the potential to be like a 15, 16 sack a year kind of edge rusher in the NFL, but he's not an every down player. So he is a bit of a luxury pick late in the first round, but the Eagles, with 2 first-rounders and the roster they have, I think they can afford to take that on. And he's going to help them close out games. He'll be such a weapon in the nickel and dime for getting after the quarterback. So I really like that pick for the Eagles. And they could use some more edge rush youth with the age of some of their guys as well. Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett could be gone anyway. So that could help them immediately in terms of injecting a pass rusher into that defense. All right, let's get into teams that don't have first-round picks. So first up, we got the Browns. I have them taking Siaki Ika, defensive tackle from Baylor. Give them an interior presence. They've moved on from some guys there over the past few years. They have some second-day players Taven Bryan's not a long-term answer, so I think taking a guy like Iko would make sense. He can eat up blocks, help free up the edge rushers as well. 43rd overall, I have the Saints taking Brandon Joseph, safety from Notre Dame. Give them a replacement for Tyrann Mathieu. And Joseph showed major ball hawking skills while at Northwestern. He's tough, disciplined player. I think he'd be a good fit for the Saints. 52nd overall, I have the Rams taking Habuk Baldonado, edge rusher from Pitt. Not sure he's going to be in the second round of my mocks a whole lot longer because he's been disappointing to me this season, but last year he was really playing excellent football for Pitt, really putting heat on the quarterback. I'm not sure if he's playing injured, might be protecting himself. Either way, not the year that I was hoping to see out of him, but the Rams could use another pass rusher to replace Von Miller, go across from Leonard Floyd, help out Aaron Donald with taking away the ability for quarterbacks to run to the perimeter away from them. 53rd overall, well, that was going to be the 49ers, but after the Christian McCaffrey trade, they don't have a pick there until day 3 of the draft. So let's move on to Denver. And for them, I have them taking this week again, Wanya Morris, right tackle from Oklahoma. I think this pick makes a lot of sense for a team that doesn't have a pick in the first 2 rounds in the Broncos situation with their roster. Morris gives them a potential starting right tackle. He has experience, a lot of experience from Tennessee in the SEC, then now at Oklahoma, where I think he could compete quickly. They could use more offensive line talent. So whether they're putting him in at guard or right tackle, he could compete. He has a good skill set, quick, athletic, just needs to get a bit stronger, get a bit more physical, maybe needs to get slapped in the face a la John Henderson pregame to piss him off, and then, let him play, let him just become an animal out there. But bit of a finesse player. They need to work on that. But in the 3rd round, every prospect you're going to take is going to have some flaws. So as far as a day 3 guy for the 49ers, I was thinking of DJ Dale, defensive tackle from Alabama. They could use some youth on that defensive line. I think that would be a really nice fit for them in terms of a guy that they could move. He could play some tackle, play some end, has some versatility. So that's this week's mock. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out that hot press on the Raiders. Also wanted to hit on the Matt Rhule firing briefly. If you check out below, or in the other videos, I talked about racism in the NFL a few years ago when all that stuff was kind of popping off. And I talked about the Matt Rhule hiring over guys like Eric Bieniemy and whatnot. And at the time, from the very beginning, I was skeptical of the Matt Rhule hiring. It was just did not seem like a good fit. Just a pure college coach, not an NFL coach. So the Panthers, I think, finally made the right move. Now, the best and most important thing they could do is make sure that this head coaching hire is made by Scott Fitterer, their general manager, Dan Morgan, their assistant general manager, former linebacker there. Let those guys do it. Last time, David Tepper was really involved in terms of hiring Rhule. I don't think this is his ballpark. I think he needs to let the football people do what they do. That has been a problem in the Panthers organization. I wrote about that last, Combine, how there was problems within the team between the head coach, the front office, and ownership. And now here we are, not even close to the halfway point of the NFL season, and Rhule's been fired. So the writing was on the wall that it was a terrible fit and a bad hire. Tepper's got to stay out of it. Let the football people do their jobs. So those are my quick thoughts on the Carolina move. And again, check out that Raiders blog. Interesting stuff in there. So hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. I really appreciate it. Tons of links below for articles to check out. Of course, check out Walt's picks. He's having a great season. And I'll be back with you guys next week with another mock. And I want you all to stay safe. Be careful. Have some fun. Enjoy life. I love all of you. I thank you. See you soon.